Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Vybin with Autumn Lit Poets. I am indeed Autumn Lit Poet, and we are back with our co-host, Daniel, aka DTM, and on the other end, CJ the Great, aka CJ the Great. Like, how we doing today, guys? Hey, gotta stay on
CJ the Great's my government name, if y'all didn't know.
Hey, I go by Autumn Lit Poets. I feel that. So today's topic is going to be a little bit more informational. We're going to lean more so, like I said in the last, the opportunity of being able to be young and give information that is definitely needed. It doesn't matter what age you are. Oh, this is how shared as well. Maybe I'll send it to you guys. But just being able to bless someone with some type of energy, with some type of information that you never know will save someone's life. You know, we have horrible forms of society now where, everyone is pushing you towards more so medicinal fixes for things that just a little bit of TLC can affect you a lot more, I'm not discrediting doctors, I'm not discrediting our amazing people out there, but some people can't afford you. So what can they do when they can't afford you? That's the billion-dollar question. So basically today we're just gonna be talking about different survival tactics. And this is a broad spectrum. It's not just specific emotional. We're gonna kind of touch base with three of them: finances, emotional balance, and we'll figure out the third one on our way in the process.
Romance, maybe.
Probably, and just the dopamine in itself could be a third tactic. But definitely, that's the gist of what we're going to talk about today. I see we got a couple of people. Hey guys, welcome. But if you guys could share, definitely hit that share button. The more sharing, the better. Like I said, we're trying to touch the world, not just, from what we can see. We're trying to go past that horizon. So please share indeed, and we're about to share ourselves. But just to get this thing started, like I said, young survival tactics. A lot of people don't know how to begin that journey of adulthood. And this is touching back into our last conversation, of course, but this is going into a more deeper perspective of just that, when I was going through what I was going through with my family, I didn't want to talk to anybody. And that could be another excuse, but it is a valid excuse. Talking sometimes doesn't help. So how can we reach these kids where they are instead of forcing them to come up to a specific, standardized, option.
I guess like trying to live up to the standards of what other people are saying for you.
Absolutely.
But as that transition into adulthood, it can be difficult because we've been sheltered most of our lives, and we had the resources provided to us, whether we realize it or not in our youth. We used to go bragging about the stuff we had, but our mama really got it. But that transition to adulthood teaches you that responsibility and getting your own ducks in a row in order to make things happen for yourself. And you take it for granted at first because you're still kind of used to that free time, so you still utilize some of your free time to do things that you like and stuff. And we not always just goal oriented. But that transition and that and garnering those responsibilities, they end up piling up, and you end up realizing like you got to get your stuff together. And I think when you get to like the mid-20s, you start to realize certain things for what they are. Your mind kind of matures, but at the same time, enjoy your youth, make your youth fruitful and fun. But they realize get serious.
Absolutely. I feel like a lot of people, especially Black people, we're just gonna call it how it is. We like to wait to the absolute last minute before we start making steps to getting where we need to be, especially mentally. I know for me, I was like, I'm still in high school. I still have enough time. But then the pressures, the further into high school you went, the more pressure that fell on you. Because now, junior, senior year, you're thinking about recruitment, you're thinking about college, you're thinking about scholarships. That's additional pressure. And people automatically assume, oh, that's just the norm, not for everybody, And we have to stop treating people as if everyone is the same. Everybody is on their own journey, So
Yeah.
that's where I say going to meet people where they at, but also giving positive opinions and options that they can choose from. It's all about your choice at the end.
Everybody has their own walk of life.
Absolutely.
Nobody's path, no two people's paths are the same. So things always go different for people. So you got to kind of meet them where they at, like she said, and be understanding. Is the best you can. What y'all talking about?
We getting the, well, we're getting the. I'm tagging you guys so that you can share it.
Right. Share. We look like your bouncers. We got chains on sitting next to you. Right?
I'm dead.
Well, just to tap in real quick. I guess
Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties, but I'm definitely.
Is it? But yeah, just again, transition into adulthood, just remain vigilant and just pay attention to some of the patterns in your life and
Definitely.
Yeah, what I was definitely gonna say is a way that we can aid, people that are going through that is just by remembering that you have to meet people where they at, not based on what you've been through and what you've already experienced. Because some people haven't gotten to that understanding or have been through half of the things that you've been through. So it's just good to remember that where they are, picture that being your younger self and just having that conversation with them as if it was your younger self. And, remind them that, your journey is yours. However, take these jewels that I'm trying to give you so you can apply them to yourself and avoid different things when you see patterns or when you see, certain things that have been mentioned to you. So, yeah.
Okay.
So as far as that, when you were talking about like survival tactics and stuff like that, like what are some of the things that you do when you can't go to a therapist or you don't have resources available to you? What are some of the things y'all do to kind of nurture yourselves and help rebound from that?
The question, that was actually the question I was about to answer. About to ask. But I guess my thing is just doing a little bit of brainstorming and like both of them said, kind of reaching to where they are instead of, just try and the most calming way, meet them where they are. I mean, not everybody is at the same level. So sometimes you gotta pull it back a little bit and be like, hey, all right, let's meet you where you're at. You like basketball? Let's go to a basketball game. You like boxing? Let's bring out some boxing gloves. But meet them where they are instead of trying to mold them into something else. Some of these people don't want to be molded. They're bricks out here, you feel me? So how do you get to someone who doesn't want to be gotten to? You meet them where they at. But definitely, like one thing I saw when I was in South Georgia, we had like community day, and it was such a sense of relief to see Black people get together and just have fun. There was not a lot of drama going on. There was basketball games going on, little leagues, and, people were at the park, and it was just a fellowshipping moment. Sometimes you just have to put yourself in a position to where you can just say, all right, just for a couple of hours, let me have fun. Let me find something that releases that dopamine. Let me find something that can take my mind off of my everyday issues. And that's on every spectrum. That's adulthood, that's children, it goes across the board. Teenagers, they're going through this little phase where they're growing, their mind is expanding, they're going through emotional changes. And with COVID, putting them in a box to where they can't communicate with people, they're not social, it burns depression, you feel me? And a lot of people don't know how to to deal with stuff like that. That it develops anxiety, it develops PTSD in a way, because now it's an isolation field. And now you got isolation, emotions, and all of this in one little thing. So how do you reach them if you don't know what's going on? So you got to make sure that they're comfortable and they can let their guard down a little bit for you to be able to speak. But you got to, like I said, you got to meet them halfway. There is no just
About
jumping in,
understanding.
exactly. There's no jumping in the deep end of the pool knowing you can't even swim in 3 feet.
Yeah.
So, but that was one thing that we're going to talk about, the emotional balance. And it is true. Today's levels of depression and anxiety are through the roof, guys. It's more severe now than it's been ever in history. And we're trying to figure it out just as much as the doctors are. Everybody's playing, let's figure it out, know? So, but we don't want it, just to be the doctors. Why can't we personally try and figure something out that works for us? Not every time, and like I said, I'm not bashing doctors. I'm not, trying to, mess up y'all jobs, but there are people who don't know how to communicate. So how do you deal with that?
It gets tough, like for the people who are like in that isolation stage and being maybe locked down in the house, or just certain circumstances in life in general got you down, like that isolation thing, you have to kind of force yourself to be outward and put yourself in positions to alleviate that stress, alleviate that feeling, even if it's depression or whatever. Like you said, dopamine rush, like things like exercising and eating healthy, and doing stuff you like. If you like doing music, like myself, rap or singing, do stuff that kind of like, puts your mind in that good place. Because one thing about feeling down or feeling bad, it kind of blocks you, especially in a depressive state, kind of blocks you from doing things that are actually healthy to make you come out of that. So you have to combat yourself, because we take for granted the I versus me, the you versus yourself thing. Like when you battling yourself, it's actually you battling yourself. So you have to tap into that and convince yourself and force yourself to put yourself in position to alleviate yourself from those feelings.
Like, I feel like you have to be able to conquer yourself first before you can conquer the world. When people skip those steps, those are very, very, very big steps that you skip. But it's that eagerness and that curiosity to go ahead and just jump out there. That's what we're running into. So
tap in with outside nature, stuff like that. Like you underestimate how nature really affects your psyche and how you are internally.
Get some of that sunlight.
Yeah, sunlight, water, grass, like all of that stuff. Go hiking. Go to the little waterfall. If you're in Atlanta, go to the little waterfall up there, something. Like, be a part of that, tap into that, and it'll kind of make you in tune with yourself for a bit. Kind of give you that sense of relief. So just do things to help yourself.
I feel like a good place to start as well is understanding that it is not a problem to admit that you're not okay.
Ooh, it is.
Like, a lot of people push this whole narrative that, especially for young men, that you gotta be tough. It's not okay to show emotion. You gotta always show that you are, but it's okay, male, female, whatever it is that you're feeling, it's okay to admit that you're not okay. And we also need to break that stigma of people who say we love people and support people of, oh, you just crazy, or, you don't know what you're feeling because you ain't lived enough to experience anything, but you don't know what's going on inside of somebody's heads.
Absolutely.
When they're outside of the house, you don't know everything that they may go through because they may not feel comfortable enough to express it. So what I would say is, like I said before, meet people where they at, be patient with them, give them grace to feel vulnerable enough to open up. Because a lot of people internalize a lot of things that they're going through, and that's how they end up, in those depressed states, not wanting to reach out, blocking themselves off to themselves.
Right.
So it's like, if you start to notice that in a person, try to reach them before it gets too far.
Absolutely.
Because if a person feels that they have a hand reaching out to them, then they might feel confident enough to reach out and grab it.
And for the people who are helping, I get walking on eggshells, but sometimes a lot of people need you to be that real person to just grab, just be like, hey, all right, we good, we right here, we focus, you see me, how many fingers I'm holding up? 1, 2, 2 in the thumb, I need to get in your face. A lot of people don't know how to do that or or a lot of people don't know how to receive that type of energy. But we have to normalize that there are people out here who really care, and different ways, they're gonna help you in different ways. Not everyone is gonna approach you the way you feel like you need to be approached. So in that motive, you gotta be more open-minded and open in general to
Receptive in
receive it. Because not everybody is gonna be super sweet. Not everybody is gonna be real blunt force, And that brings me to when I went to North Clayton, I had 3 people who kept it completely real with me, and it was in 3 different forms. But at the end of the day, I felt fed at the end. One was a coach guy, real super hardcore. And then I had a literature teacher who would break it down in more literal terms because it was just like nothing was clicking for me. So I needed more of an explanation as to what he was saying. But at the end of the day, they were all still trying to help me come out of whatever they saw me in, and I didn't see it or I didn't understand it until I sat down in front of Ms. Willingham and she was like, that's what it is. And I was like, oh, bubble moment, but
people gonna have different approaches.
Absolutely.
Trying to reach you. Coming from the perspective of somebody that's trying to come out of that, people gonna have different approaches. What somebody might see as endearing and trying to help you come out of where you are, might not seem as endearing to you, but to them they're really trying to extend themselves. So meeting people where they at and understanding that, I guess that's been the theme so far. But yeah, in that respect, be understanding and try to put yourself out by allowing them to reach out to you in the way they best see it. Now, granted, if something's uncomfortable for you, make it known, but accept that somebody's helping.
Now, I'm not gonna say not everybody is out there to help you, and that's where you gotta be aligned with God Himself to make sure that spiritually you're covered. But as a human being, just beware, be able to see things for what they truly are instead of what you're wanting to see. When you can see it like that, everything is just gonna lay out right in front of you. You gotta be able to understand what all is going on. But understand one thing, help. It's okay to be helped. It's okay to need help.
Yeah.
But you can't need help and then hurt the helper in the process, So you gotta find that balance out. It's okay to be helped. It's okay to say, hey, I ain't got my stuff together. I'm just not there.
And it's easier said than done because when you dealing with certain mental illnesses, it's actually your brain's affected and the way you react to things it's actually affected. So sometimes you uncontrollably push people away that are trying to help you. You push certain situations away, again, trying to defer things that can be beneficial and fruitful for you. So you have to just kind of be cognizant and really battle with yourself, not battle with yourself, but make yourself be receptive to all those positive things that are trying to help you out of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I would definitely say tap into things that naturally make you happy.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be, if it's like CJ said, tapping in with nature, listening to music, playing video games, something that's healthy. Now, if it's something that's harmful to you, I'm definitely gonna say.
When we say dopamine, we don't mean dope.
Right. We mean the scientific term of dopamine. And that's something that our body naturally releases. But when the receptor is off, this is biology, but when your receptor is off, it throws everything out of balance. You wonder why you're moody. You wonder why you're sleepy. You wonder why you just don't have energies because you lack the motivation to do anything. And that is where our entire generation of children, K through 12, are right now. Because just sitting at home in front of a computer, ain't it?
Yeah, I
It's
blame
not.
these too.
That too.
I blame these because if you think about it, because you're so used to this being in front of your face, is creating the lack of being able to connect with people face to face, or actual relationships outside of just some random person on social media that thinks what you think is funny too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, take a step away from these every now and then. Like, it's okay to decompress. It's good to detox of everything that you see, because the world is sensitive, but yet unfiltered at the same time. Like, all the access to everything that we can see, hear, and be influenced by has no filter whatsoever, but the world is very sensitive, to, reactions of certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, put it down sometimes.
Absolutely.
I say put it down because they tracking everything you do on there. They know you better than you know yourself almost. I promise you. So somebody random in the world that can have a conversation with you about everything going on in your life. You be like, do I know you? The answer is no, you don't.
And that's where I was trying to bring in, I was letting it be known that the kids are the ones that's dealing with this, but the parents, y'all are the first people they see at home, and they're the first person they see when they wake up and the last person they see before they go to sleep. So not only do you have the power to change some things, if you want them to put that phone down, hey, put that phone down. Give me 3 hours. Give me 3 hours. Go do something physical. Let's go play hopscotch. Let's go, just go outside. Let's go on a trip. Let's just take a walk. Just sit down and talk. How about that? Just super simple. Let's eat some ice cream, and it's just, okay, hold on, we got some,
I see the same.
Yeah, okay.
No, but going into what she's saying, though, self-medicating, like, and what we're talking about with dopamine and stuff, like, that's the shortcut. People take drugs to self-medicate to achieve that self-medication. That's a shortcut to it. But if you do things that are positive in your life, like I said, eating healthy, tapping in with nature, other high vibrational things that help bring that positivity to you, you can get that same dopamine and exist on that plane instead of having to self-medicate. And that help you cope with a lot of things, because you'll walk around with a sense of peace because you tapped into all of those things naturally as opposed to self-medicating. Because when that dopamine leaves and your dopamine and serotonin is really going back up to your brain and all that stuff, that affects you physically, mentally, emotionally. Because you're actually like damaging regions of your brain that are like essential to your functioning as a human being.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you do the right things to tap into that same thing. It's more work. It's not an easy shortcut. You can't go call the guy up the street and get this done. It's more of a journey. But once you do that, you can exist on that plane without having to self-medicate.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And truth be told, like, self-medicating can lead to more detrimental effects on you than positive effects. Like CJ said, it's a short-term thing, but for some people who indulge in it so much, it can get to a point where whatever you're self-medicating with may not do it no more, so you try something heavier or stronger, and then you looking at a more downward spiral because you can't function without whatever it is that you're deciding to self-medicate with. So like both of them saying, just stick to things that are more natural, that naturally bring a smile to your face, that lifts your spirits. Like, anything that you can think of with that, whatever naturally brings a smile to your face, to the point you can't control it, like you just can't stop smiling, do that.
For me, it's music. Every morning I play Jill Scott Blessed, because at the end of the day, that just sends out like a positive message. It just gets you going, seriously. But having that opportunity or having that option, it can be just a simple, hey, have a good day. I love you. Hey, do great today. You know what. But just a simple statement to start the morning. Sit in the mirror. Hey, you have a fantastic day today. Sometimes you got to motivate yourself. You're not going to have someone that's going to be there 24/7 to or 25/8 to motivate you the way you feel like you need to be motivated. And that comes from a different source of strength. It's a self-love strength. That's I'm really wanting to do this strength. Not necessarily leaning on others' strength. So, I mean, there's so many opportunities, there's so many ways to beat this big, the foreign letter, the depression or the anxiety. When there's so many of us kids out here dealing with it and we don't know what to do. We lash out, we
undermine it,
right, undermine it. Oh, so I'll be okay. No, you're not okay. Like,
gotta put some water on it.
You're not okay. You're not okay at all. And it's the stigma that Black people have to be strong. It's the stigma that the ethnicity don't have days where we can be weak. That's the problem right there. We're all human beings at the end of the day. We all have days where we just don't feel like doing anything. We all have days where just a small word could tip us off the scale. You just never know, So just take that time, even if you just, like I said, first 10 minutes of the day, instead of getting up and checking your phone. Let's go wash our face. Let's go brush our teeth. Let's put motivational signs and phrases on your window.
Make your bed, clean your room.
Absolutely. So small stuff like that.
Yeah, visually seeing a clean room and an organized space helps your psyche.
Absolutely.
Like when you walk into, sometimes your environment is a reflection of what's going on in your head. It could be messy, whatever. But once you tidy up your environment, you start to realize like there's a connection there somehow. But you still feel more organized. You feel that Doja Cat. But yeah, so you get that environment cleaned up, and they just do like small things to just the small victories, the small joys.
Absolutely.
Hello, Miss Lenora.
Hello. But absolutely, that's really where it matters. Those first moments, that the moments that set his or her day before they even go to school, is at home. What can they do different at home before they go out about their day, before they go to work, before they go to school, before they do whatever?
You know what's underrated? The drive to work, the commute.
What? Jam, you some jam?
If you work early in the morning,
absolutely.
Get that little dust going on with the radio. I don't know what station y'all listen to, or if you got your aux in, whatever, you might have a playlist for it.
Right.
Either or, but like those small things. Got a little snack or a biscuit you eating on the way to work. Just those small things that give you, and memories are good ways to really help enhance yourself or help uplift yourself. Because those are the things that stick with us. So those positive memories that stick in your head, you can replicate those the best way you can. It really helps.
Absolutely.
Try not getting on social media until after 12 o'clock. No, I'm being for real. I'm being for real. No, I'm for real. Try it. Whoa. If you're an adult, try not getting on social media until after 12 o'clock.
So I got like a little boxing form I get in. Like
no.
Only reason like social media is like boxing.
No, only reason I say that, try it out, is because just think about it, especially if you have a job where you have to go to in the morning. So if you don't touch social media before you leave the house, all you're really able to do is connect with yourself.
Yeah.
So my thing is like, you can connect with yourself, or you connect with God or whoever you believe in. Like, it gives you that freedom without being influenced by outside stuff. And you're not clouding your mind with all of this other stuff that you may see. Because all of the stuff that you see on social media now is constant debates about people's sexual orientations and their beliefs.
There we go.
Whether it's okay or not okay for Black men to go get therapy. Like, just everything that's always causing some type of question or making things seem unclear or dividing things. So it's like, take a step away from that. Connect with yourself. Connect with the deity that you believe in. For me, it's God. So it's like, take that time to just connect. And I promise you'll feel lighter. Especially, go ahead.
Go ahead, finish.
I was gonna say, especially if you got a job that you don't like, I'm being so serious.
It's so real.
I'm being for real. If you got a job that you don't like, it's so much better going into it, connecting with yourself, and finding peace. I'm not about to tell that lie.
That's a lie.
Yeah, if I don't like a job, I don't like a job. But it's like it's so much peaceful. Like having that peace of mind, that clarity, and you just feel like, all right, I can do this. I can get through the day. It's gonna be all right.
And like, you gotta face it. The reality is, we are very competitive beings. That's on every side. I've heard some people, oh, I ain't got nothing to compete with. I'm good where I am. But yet, you move in a competitive way. You know, there's never been like social media. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, I love Instagram. I'm posting this, that, but there's never been one time where I haven't been able to catch myself slipping and be like, dang, like I wish I looked like her, or dang, I wish I had what they had, because it looks fantastic, you know, but you never know what's going on behind closed doors.
It's made to look fantastic.
It's made to look
it's
fantastic.
a highlight, you know.
But that right there, the fact that it looks fantastic and it's not where you are personally, that could put a taint or a darkness over your reality. You're trying to live up to that instead of living up to what you are or who you are, you know? So we definitely trying to do that. No social media in the morning, drink some tea, listen to some you know, relaxing music, not something that'll put you to sleep, but you know, just something to get your mind.
I should be good.
Right, right, to get your mind in a good space. But a lot of people don't go to sleep happy, so they're gonna wake up just as uncomfortable or just as ticked off as they were when they went to sleep. That's why, you know, especially in relationships, they say never go to sleep mad at your spouse, because if you wake up the next day, you still got those barren feelings from what happened yesterday, instead of y'all sitting down and actually resolving it as a people.
That you have a dream.
What? Ooh, that just feels
I'm in a dream. When you
wake up in the middle of the night, just looking at them.
So, damn, just wake up so we can fight right now. Just
I'm ready to argue.
Just like so, and that's in every relationship. That's not just man and woman. That's mother and father. That's mother and son. That's mother and daughter. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you should want to be at peace when you lay down. Because when you're asleep, when you're angry sleeping, you wake up angry, and then it just continues the cycle until you stop. So how are you going to stop it? How are you as the individual going to stop it, instead of looking for someone to help you stop in that moment?
Sometimes those negative emotions feel good, especially when you don't get a chance to express your emotions or alleviate those feelings. So the negative emotions like anger and you know, all the things you hold against people might feel good, but you have to like stop yourself from that and be more oriented in finding solutions as opposed to upholding those negative emotions, because all it is toxicity that's just gonna continue to snowball throughout different situations in your life.
Absolutely, and unfortunately, toxicity is the new trend, and that's not healthy. So we definitely, as a people, have to break that.
Shout out Future.
And a couple other people, Drake. We can name them, you know, but we're not going in that. But we as a people have to break that trend, because that ain't it. We'll never really understand how to truly be a human being with all of the emotions, with the whole package, the discomfort, you know, you never understand who you are until you're kind of isolated enough to be able to focus on who you are. When you have consistent, you know, when you have consistent things that are out here to catch your eye or to take you off your focus, it's kind of difficult to do that. So let's try and strengthen our minds as human beings to be able to focus on one thing at one time.
Be prepared for those things to take you off your track. That's always gonna happen. You try to avoid it in the best way you can, do everything you can to avoid
Confrontation.
Stuff happening. But you gotta just prepare for these things and just kind of mentally, especially mentally. You can prepare for yourself in different ways, financially, blah, 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 but mentally prepare yourself for these hurdles, because through your greatest successes, you have to go through some of your greatest failures.
Absolutely.
So you're gonna catch L's.
Your weakness will become your strengths eventually, but you gotta allow it to become your strength. You have to figure it out. You gotta take it apart, Oh, this is a cute little key, just take that time. It's a self-love journey. And a lot of people from TikTok, that good old TikTok, are going on that journey. And this is honestly the perfect time because we literally have nothing in our way. They're literally shutting down schools. They're literally shutting down businesses. That was a godsend, honestly, because a lot of us need that time, that self-love time, that time. I'm trying to get it all up here, but I guess it's a little delayed on Facebook. I'm trying to see what you guys are saying, and I want to move the computer because if I move it, you're not gonna see me.
Okay, help yourself mentally.
Absolutely. That's a perfect way to say it. Because if you can't if you can't overcome the things mentally, how are you gonna overcome anything physically? You can't even control the one thing that you can, So absolutely, that's a phrase right there in the song.
Well, it's
go ahead.
I was gonna say, it all starts spiritually.
Absolutely.
Like whatever's at the core is gonna find its way to the surface. So that's why they always say, like, you gotta keep that full armor of God. Like,
absolutely.
if that's what you believe in. You gotta always keep that on because there's so many things to distract you, so many things to get you off course. And the truth, like CJ said, like you're gonna have speed bumps. You can't ride on the road too long without coming across a speed bump.
Or a pothole.
Exactly. So it's like you gotta be prepared for it. That's why, they put a spare with every car.
Absolutely.
Because you're gonna have emergencies, you're gonna have things that happen. But like they said, you gotta roll with the punches. Things are going to happen. Keep having birthdays. That's what my dad used to always say. You keep having birthdays, things gonna happen. It's just all about how you pivot, how you adapt, learn the lesson, and keep going.
YOLO.
It's really that practical,
YOLO.
Pivot, adapt, learn your lesson, keep it pushing. Because everything that you go through is to build character. It's for you to be able to, everything you're going through right now is for you to be able to look back on and be like, wow, I went through that and I came out. And you see where you are at that point versus where you were, and you realize how strong of a person you are. So that's what these situations are meant for. The favors of God get the hardest tribulations. It's not the exact quote, but
Get what you're saying.
But we're built that way to come back from these things and to build ourselves and walk through life, and things can just fall off of us because we are protected and we've already experienced these things and we know what and what not to do.
Absolutely. And then the stigma of that by itself, generational curses pay a lot into that as well, because you see your family doing it. You see, your mother was struggling with this, or you see your dad inflicted this on someone, and in that sense, that births in itself a whole problem on its own with the kids, because kids are we absorb that energy, And there was a movie that we were watching yesterday at my grandma's house. It's called War Room, I think that's what it is, Mom.
I heard of it.
So basically, it's like this family was going through trials and tribulations. Like they were going through some stuff. The husband was doing what he wanted to do. The wife just felt emotionally neglected. The kid was feeling it, and she was talking to her friends like, "Yeah, I don't like being at home," and da-da-da-da-this. And the mom heard it, and it broke her heart, because that's never the intentions of a mother. That's never the intentions of parents. Hopefully, I pray, but in her sense, in her defense, that was never her intention. But she didn't realize how much it was affecting her family until she took herself out of it and looked at the entire situation as the mother, as the wife. And sometimes you gotta have a little bit more faith than what you can see. And in that sense, that's how she overcame it in the war room, which was pretty dope. Little technique. Yeah, right. So she cleaned out her closet, and she turned it into her war space, her prayers for her husband to do right and to come back to the light, her kid, to be happy, for us to be a family again. And when she started and she was in it, her kids started doing it. And then her husband saw what they were doing together, and I'll be darned if it just molded everything together. Sometimes you just gotta pray about it. That's all you can do, and prayer is the greatest strength to me. Being able to pray on your own, not attached to somebody. Your personal prayers get heard, and I promise you, you'll be blessed.
Those are the truest ones, personal prayers.
Absolutely.
Now, those are the prayers you realize that, you can actually be conversational with God. You can have your own personal relationship as opposed to, what you might hear anywhere else. So you got your own personal relationship with God, and that's the truest, most vulnerable state. And that's what's needed.
That's it. That's it. Man lost his job and completely stripped him of everything that he felt he deserved, just so he could see where the true form, where the true strength came from. But not everybody has that person to instill it or to wake it up, because a lot of people already have it. But with how life goes, the church isn't necessarily at the forefront. It's more so the popularity. It's more so, something tangible. Oh, I got this much money in the bank. I'm living here. I'm doing. Okay, but then you know how many rich people have killed themselves within the past 10 years because they built their success off of the dollar instead of the love of God or the love period. They say God is love, so God clearly love rules everything. But people turn that switch off because it automatically makes them weak. In whose eyes?
Right. The next person instead of the one who matters, which is God.
Exactly.
So we
got to shift our focus, man. We got to shift our focus.
And we get caught up in all these different things in life that don't really matter, that are not of God. Like we trying to, build generational wealth, which is cool, and everything's money oriented. The next goal, but the thing that really matters is what's going on internally, that love, and that's what we are ultimately working for when we chasing this money. But we think money is the source of it, but it's not. It starts internally. So we focus on the wrong thing.
And it's crazy when we were talking about this because I had referenced TikTok is such a great reference. I don't care what anybody say. You learn a lot of stuff on TikTok. So just don't allow it to consume your mind and you be watching it for 12 hours and But when these some of these videos be spot on though. But if we go back to the Bible terms, faith without work is dead. But God didn't say work yourself to death. He just said work to be sustained, in wherever you are. But people are so greedy and want what the next man has. And they don't realize they're never satisfied. And when you're never satisfied, you're just not gonna live a life of peace and happiness because you always focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you got.
Mm-hmm. And that inner peace going, you realize what you got, especially in relation to what you had.
Absolutely.
Once you realize what you even now, even with what you might be going through right now, what you have right now versus what you had, take that for what it is. So, and even if you have less, you're still here and you still have an opportunity to have more. And you probably have more than what you had at a certain point.
That's the toughest piece right there because we be thinking, oh, but I still don't have enough. Why are you thinking about that?
Yeah, that's a bad
You're thinking about something that you have no control over.
Something that I just kind of realized when I was talking.
Mm-hmm.
So the true essence of faith is intangible. It's not something that you can touch. So with that being said, don't put your sense of peace in things that are tangible.
Absolutely.
Because by you doing that, it can be quickly taken away. Versus it being intangible, like your essence of faith or your passion is inside you. Can't nobody take that away from you.
We were talking about this earlier today.
Yeah, unless you allow them to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, instead of placing your sense of peace in, oh, I got this car, or I got this house, or I got this money, because any of that can be taken away from you at any given moment within the blink of an eye.
And all you left with is you.
And exactly, all you're left with is you. And for some people, that's not enough.
Mhm.
For me, that's enough. If I can wake up, breathe, and walk, and do the simple things, that's enough for me.
That's it.
Because there's so much more that can happen from just having that and appreciating and having peace with those small things that we take for granted every day. So it's like, remove the sense of accomplishment and peace from physical things and place them on internal things that can't nobody touch but you.
Yeah, that's good.
So
That's good.
Fire.
Fire.
Don't Marco.
So I know we've been talking away. It's already 7:48. Jeez. Does anybody have any questions? I mean, we've been talking. And somebody done festered up a question that they want to answer. Excuse me. But this is good. This is exactly what I feel like some of the young folks need to hear. I mean, sometimes it's the elder folks, you know.
and me, I gotta say,
say.
yeah, I gotta say this. This is for the fellas, right? Young or old.
In between.
Hey, two things, right? The first thing I'm gonna say is hitting up your partners or your friends or your homeboys and just asking, "Are you okay?" goes a long
Bruh.
Bruh.
You don't even know you need to hear that
It's,
till you
I'm
hear
trying
it.
to tell you, it goes so far. Like just having one of your partners, just him. I promise you, your partner. You may not even know. You may not have even talked to your partners in like a minute, or you may even talk to them on a regular basis. But just asking them that simple question: "Hey, bro, are you okay? You good?" Like that goes so far. And then not only that, but like it's all right to reach out to your partners and ask them like, even on a deeper level, like where you at mentally, bro? Like where you at emotionally? Because we don't be having them type of conversations. But I promise you, it's extremely healthy. It's extremely beneficial. It's all right to get vulnerable with each other sometimes because maybe sometimes you feel like you can't communicate that with a female counterpart, but sometimes check on your partners, ask them are they okay.
Okay, we got a question. How do you continue loving family even though you go through horrible things but miss the chances to check up on family the most? Okay, in that sense, mama, you just gotta do it. You just gotta rip the Band-Aid off. You just gotta be like Nike and put yourself in the situation to be able to check on them. Some people won't admit that they want to be checked up on. So if you get that gut feeling, if you get that little, tingle in your belly to talk, if someone just pops up in your mind, check them out. Hey, how you doing? How you been feeling? Yeah, I know we didn't end on great terms, but I'm still family and I still love you. I still care. I just want to make sure that you are okay and be genuine about it. Don't let it be because you want something. Don't let it be because you feel like you need something. Just let it be genuine at the end of the day.
And for some people that might be hard, like what she's saying in the question, like going through horrible things, it might end up, becoming hard to reach out, and check up on everybody else because you got your own thing going on. That's why hearing that "Are you okay?" is important. So in that respect, if you know how much that would mean to you, sometimes ask that to somebody else.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, y'all might end up having something y'all can relate on in y'all both y'all's issues, and then y'all help each other feel better. I had it happen the other day. I had a homegirl of mine give me a call, and she had her own thing going on. I had my own thing going on, but in brushing shoulders about it, we were able to, get that off to one another, and feed off of each other and help each other feel better. We were both thankful for that interaction. So, if you are going through it, and sometimes things are hard, you might be going through something, but sometimes a phone call that you never even would have made otherwise could be the answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could not be, but it could be. So pick up the phone and talk to people, and just try, reach out.
Understand that intuition is always right. I don't think there's ever been a situation where intuition was wrong. And people feel like, oh, you feel like you have that. No, that's a spirit thing. Because there could have been a time where I wasn't thinking about it. But God would literally drop that nugget. Hey, check her out. Hey, hit him up. Hey, you right down the street from this bro. Go visit him real quick. Just to, see what's up. That little thing, that little piece goes such a long way when it comes to people, especially, the older kids. That oldest kid always felt like he or she was just by herself, and as a cousin, as a niece, as a nephew, as an auntie, hey, how you doing today? I know man, being the oldest has its, being the oldest has its moments, but you good? I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest
Me
of
too.
5, so it's just like, I wish I
You was
had.
jealous, like, wow.
What?
They stopped getting whoopers as much.
Ooh. You be like, what? That's some bull.
You didn't even get it that bad. You already complaining.
Absolutely, Tanya. Forgiveness is key in that situation, but you have to forgive them, not just for them, but for yourself. When you can forgive them for yourself, that's when you begin your journey of healing. But you can't heal correctly, you can't heal properly if you still have that stain of hatred or that stain of jealousy or that stain of envy against that person. You'll never be able to fix that.
It will hold you back in a bunch of
It
ways.
will hold you back, and you gotta do it. I'm not saying you gotta rush the process, but you don't want that person to leave here without them forgiving you either. Because once they're gone, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't take that burden. You gotta really do some self-reflection, some self-healing within yourself to be able to just be like, yeah, I forgive you, but not for you. I forgive you for me, so that I can live and not have a grudge or not feel some type of way every time I hear your name or I see your face.
Right now, my day thrown off. I was having a good day.
All right,
I ate good
you
this
just brought up
morning.
this man
I'm
name,
straight.
like, man, what? No,
See,
you don't
I'm
want to be there. If someone alters your day like that, they have way too much power.
Too much.
So you gotta take that power back. As a human being, you gotta take it back.
Yep, I forgive you for me. That's what I'm talking about.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
So that's a good question, Tanya.
I did. So yeah, forgiveness and just overall forgiveness, meeting people where they at, nurturing yourself, and just finding ways to bring yourself out of what you might be going through. What else?
Understand that the life is the reward. You live life day by day. You don't live life thinking about yesterday, because then you bring yesterday's problem into your tomorrow. So focus on today, focus on living, focus on being happy, focus on give me this day. That's what the Bible says. It didn't say give me yesterday. He didn't say give me 2 weeks ago. I don't want to think about 2 weeks ago. I want to think about right now. And then what you do right now is what's going to push you into what's going to happen tomorrow. You're going to wake up and be like, you know what? I think we just going to have a self-love day.
Yeah.
Soak in a tub. Drink some orange juice.
Go out to a restaurant, eat by yourself. Don't even invite nobody.
And
just take your phone and watch some stuff and prop it up. You got like a little.
That's it. I get, the buddy system for women, but I'm not gonna tell y'all that yesterday I didn't take a walk down Piedmont Park after I got off work, and it was just me and the sun. And I was in a fantastic mood. Oh, of course, I had my knife on me. You gotta be prepared at all times. But you don't have to always have someone with you to be happy or to experience a certain type of peace. You can have that stuff all by yourself. Go sit crisscross applesauce in some grass. Go touch, some earth. Like,
listen, do that for real. Go sit in some grass. Go barefoot. Take your shoes off. Walk in the grass.
Just make sure there ain't no dogs nowhere.
Yeah.
Watch your surroundings.
A lot of people some people got OCD and they're not gonna do that. I ain't talking about me. I don't mind doing stuff like that, but find your way to connect with nature the best way you can. For me, it's bodies of water. Like, I love being around lakes, oceans, ponds. It don't matter. Like,
it's well overdue.
I love bodies of water. Just hearing the sound of water, or even looking at it be still, it's like a piece of art. Sonically, it's peaceful to my ears. Like, yeah.
And I mean, even like in the morning, birds wake you up before you really wake up. You just listen to nature. It's right outside your window. All you gotta do is open the window. You hear some birds chirping. You hear the owls.
Birds make us in 5 beats.
What? And they be out there tweet, you know.
It was 1 melody. I was like, bro, that's fire.
That's fire.
Hey, I get the studio.
Absolutely, bro. But we are at the final minutes of this chat. I hope you guys, come on. Do we have questions? We got any last minute questions before we close this thing out?
Well, I'm gonna leave y'all with this.
Messenger.
Let's
Yeah.
It's very simple. But
come on, you gotta stay in the camera.
okay, your past is a lesson. Your present is a present. Your future is a blessing. Remember that.
Amen.
Oh man, that's a good question. How did we meet?
Savannah State.
Yep.
Last day.
Yeah, very short and sweet.
Word.
We met at Savannah State University.
Yeah.
Way of rediscovery.
I met Autumn through Savages.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely
I met her through
models.
Savages.
We definitely modeling.
Yeah.
But we're still in the same area. Savannah, the Savannah area.
At a HBCU.
At
How about
HBCU.
that? Just straight like that.
Your vibe is effortless. Oh, thank you. You know, one thing I keep, I keep pushing is when you real from the jump, you don't have to put on a facade. And that's one thing that we as friends do. We don't put on a facade. This is what it is, But that is all the time we have for today.
Yeah, we getting billed as we speak by the second.
Absolutely. But y'all gotta come back next week because we're gonna get into some real stuff. We just gonna go ahead and label it relationships because he already opened that book. So that's what we're gonna talk about next time. It's gonna be the good, the bad, the ugly. That's the name.
I hit you with that.
Alright. Nothing. But y'all gotta be ready. Y'all gotta be open-minded. Stay tuned. We thank you guys.
I am too.
Hey, I think all of us single. Okay. But y'all stay tuned and we will see y'all next week, 7:00. Y'all pay attention. And this was Vybin with Autumn. Y'all be out. Y'all.
Oh, great. Hey, what music she does?